got one that I thought of last week. I'll put it up here. So
Okay.
can different amplifiers affect your soundstage? And so where this came from is I've heard different people mention that they added an amplifier, either added it to an AVR or maybe they swapped an amplifier and got a different one, maybe a higher end one. And they said, man, it just opened up my soundstage or made it bigger or wider or whatever. And I just really started thinking about that. I'm like, man, I've never experienced that. I mean, I've owned a bunch of different amplifiers over the years. I say a bunch, maybe 6 or 7, and I've reviewed several, and I've never once hooked up an amplifier and heard a soundstage change, in that respect. So I was just curious, have you guys ever experienced that? Is that something that maybe I've just never, heard, or is that even possible? I don't know. And in the chat, I'd love to hear, your experience on that, your thoughts on that. So what do you think, guys?
One thing I would say is I don't know that it should make a difference in soundstage, right? Unless we're talking about like those effects that like enhance or virtuals, other than those types of things. If you're talking about like power amplifiers that are only supposed to amplify,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I think there's a spec regarding crosstalk, maybe like how much of one channel bleeds into the other. I think that's very low in modern amplifiers, so it's not something to concern yourself with. But you know what is maybe if an amplifier does accentuate certain frequencies, which is also shouldn't do, right? That can possibly enhance the soundstage, right? So there are changes that you can make to a frequency to, that would make it sound wider or whatever. Well, let's see what's going on with Aaron. Let's see, is he in? Hey, what happened?
That's better, but it's not working. Well, I'm using my phone now. I don't know, man. My computer is doing weird stuff. Okay. So I'm going to try this. We only got a few more minutes.
Where's Croson at? Is he in here today? I haven't seen him.
I haven't seen Paul.
No. What's up with Aaron's bokeh today, huh? What's up now?
Yeah, man.
You're saying that he's always
set this on. There we go.
Do you see the question there? Can the different amplifiers affect your soundstage?
No.
What's the answer? There it is.
Definitive no from Aaron.
And
I've just never experienced that myself, but I heard that and I was like, really? Like that changed the soundstage? I don't see how that's even possible, but that's just me.
If they're actually experiencing that, what's happening?
No, because placebo effect. I'm just saying that because I'm frustrated at my whole system right now. I don't feel like giving a legitimate answer. Dadgummit.
Well, Mark's got a thought on it. He says soundstage depth, clarity, nuance, detail, nothing will be discernible without a properly set up system that's reproducing full range. So if you're running a subwoofer, you won't hear that? Is that kind of the thought there?
I don't see why that... I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, isn't this concerning the amplifier question?
Correct.
Yeah. Right? Why don't we reverse engineer this, right? Why don't we just talk about it in this way? If you wanted to enhance a soundstage, what would you... All right, so Chana actually is perfect for this. If you want to enhance a soundstage, how would you do that in a recording, right?
Depends. Let's see. If I wanted to... if you add reverb, the more reverb you put, the farther back or deep in the mix that sound goes, right? Whereas if you want, usually like drums, right? I'll have three reverb buses, right? A short reverb, a medium reverb tail, and a long reverb tail. The short one is going to be a plate. It's a plate reverb, and I usually use the EMT 140 plate reverb, which is this classic one from Universal Audio. And all the drums will be sent to that reverb, right? Quick, so it's like kind of still up front, right? Vocal is also going to be quick to medium, depending on like what kind of how you want it to like sound. How does it groove, right? But like big keyboards, big pads, those are going to have like a big hall reverb, which is going to give a huge reverb tail, and it like kind of, I put more on it so it sits back. So if we're going front to back, you've got drums, vocal, or drums right here, vocal just back here, and then the keys and stuff back here. So you're getting that 3-dimensional depth.
How about left and right, like Soundstage? Because you're talking about depth right now. What do you do for the left and right?
So like, classic for panning, kick, drum, snare, straight up and down. Vocals want to be in the center as well. Bass guitar, pan it left 5, rhythm guitar, pan it right 5 or 7, depending on what you want to do. Now, there's some stuff when I'm making electronic music, like I send my stuff to this mastering engineer in Europe, right? He does all the like electronic music. So he's like, hey, can you get the vocal out of the center? Mm-hmm. Because I need the kick to, and the snare to breathe a little bit better. I was like, okay, so how do I do that? I trick your brain. So basically I double the vocal track. I pan one hard left, I pan one hard right. And when you hear it stereo, it sounds like the voice is coming in from the center, but it's not there. It's actually on either side so that the kick can breathe right down the center. So it's kind of like you're tricking people. It's kind of weird, like.
So what do these expanders do? Because I've seen those like stereo expanders where it does something that would make it sound like it's further that way and further that way. Like what is actually happening there?
I use the Nugent stereoizer. Mm-hmm. That's actually what it's called. It doesn't even sound like that's an actual word, the stereoizer, right? And depending on, it's kind of like the same thing. Like depending on what you want that sound to be in the song and where you can just take a mono signal and make it super stereo spread, or you can do it so it's like even, but it's like in here. So instead of like, I think it's like 60 something on either side. And so you can do like 30, so you're halfway. Does that look like half? On either side, just by using the plugin instead of doing that doubling the track trick I said about the vocals. So it all, I guess, there's a few ways to do the same thing, right?
I guess it's good that you kind of explained in that way, because my whole point was, look at what you have to do in order to expand the stereo soundstage, right? Now, what is an amplifier doing that's supposedly giving you that enhanced effect? Because whatever it is, it probably shouldn't be doing that. Because look at all the stuff what is it that's happening? Unless the other one is not doing a good job of representing the stereo effect. If you have a bad amp and everything's coming out mono, if you have a decent amp that does what it's supposed to do, it's going to sound better. Yeah. But I don't know how one is going to be so much better than another with regards to soundstage.
My thought is amplifiers typically, they really just should get out of the way. They're supposed to amplify the signal that's coming into them. So I don't even know if I hear the other than tube amps. Tube amps are totally different kind of thing. But in like solid state and class D, I don't hear a lot of the different things that some people claim that they hear with, swapping out an amplifier for, the same topology kind of thing. So.
Right. The one thing I notice is like, sometimes the like class D's or class H's can't keep up with the class A B amp after like 5-6 hours of just like constant like, and like here upstairs, like, dude, the TV's on, bro. Right. Like 10, 12, 15 hours a day. Like they're on. So all these these Ampere sounds are just banging through every single thing. Right. So yeah, I've heard plenty of times people will be like, "Oh, well, this is a neutral sounding amplifier. Oh, this is more forward sounding." I'm like, I honestly, it's kind of like DAX. Like, like you got to have like be trained to like hear these tiny things. And I know we were talking about something about revealing system or whatever, right? And like revealing stuff that the artist actually didn't want you to hear. Like imagine like drummers drumming, they got like 8 or 9 microphones there. Somewhere in the middle of his riff, a little, my little toot, little right. He's playing the snare drum off, all of a sudden, a little, which you can bury in the mix. But if your system's revealing, what do you want to do? You want to hear that fart on the snare drum? Like, what is this? Is this what you need? Is this what that means?
That's where they get that chocolatey sound from.
Yeah.
Is that the chocolatey bottom end?
What it is. Yeah.
On the old speakers that I had, I thought that it was just, I thought it was the seat cushion that was making the sound. But on these new ones, I could totally hear the butt cheeks.
Yeah, they were
amazing.
smacking together.
Oh my goodness.